Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. So we will begin our third session. So this time I am going to deal with a dialogue from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is from the Shukla Yajurveda. The Upanishads is essentially linked to one great Vedic sage and philosopher, Yajnavalkya, and another great sage and philosopher, who is a woman philosopher called Gargi. So here's a dialogue between Yajnavalkya, the great sage, and Janaka, who is an emperor of the Videha country. So as I mentioned yesterday, during the Vedic times, it was a tradition that great scholars, kings, emperors, and guests coming from different neighboring countries like Parasika Desha is called today's Iran or Persia, Afghanistan, and even scholars from Central Asian republics used to come to India during the Buddhist times. But during the Vedic times, most of the scholars came from Indian subcontinent, which culturally included Afghanistan also in those days. So here's a dialogue between a king, Janaka, who ruled the Videha country, which is capital at Mithila in today's Bihar, state of Bihar, which was at that time a big empire, capital of an empire, and Yajnavalkya. So I shall try to read out, and then in the course of the time I shall explain. It's a very famous Brahmanam. It is called Swayam Jyotir Brahmanam or Jyotir Brahmanam. It's a very philosophical, very celebrated dialogue. Janakam ha Vaidekam Yajnavalkyo Jagama Samenena Vadishyeti Atha ha Yajanagascha Vaideho Yajnavalkyascha Agnihotre Samuhade Tasmeha Yajnavalkyo Varam Dado Saha Kama Prasnameva Vavre Tam Kasmei Dadu Tam Kasamradeva Purvam Paparcha. So this is the first mantra of the third Brahmana. It's called the Jyoti Brahmana. Jyoti means light. So the whole Brahmana deals with light. Now light here doesn't mean the physical light that we normally know about. Light here means knowledge. Now there is a difference between the light and what the light reveals. The light reveals itself and the light reveals other things. For example, a light can reveal itself. And in the presence of light, other objects get revealed. So, Atman is depicted as the supreme light, Jyotisham Jyotihi, the light among lights. So, before expounding this great spiritual philosophy, here is a context given. Yajnavalkya and Janaka were both great philosophers and also great friends. So Yajnavalkya is depicted as a great philosopher king of ancient India. Now a philosopher king is a concept that goes all the way back to Plato's time in Republic. So Plato says only a philosopher can be an ideal king. Because a philosopher will have the wisdom to be impartial in imparting justice, looking after the welfare of the subjects, and becoming totally detached from his own immediate concerns, prejudices, likes and dislikes. So you can find this great concept in the Vedic literature. The Vedic concept of a philosopher king goes far beyond whatever Plato could have ever dreamt of it. Because in Plato's concept, it is only the ideal of a king who can be an effective ruler of a nation state. But in Vedic concept, the philosopher king was called a Rajarshi. So Shankaracharya defines the word Rajarshi. It comes in the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter. In the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna gives a succession of the great philosopher kings of ancient India. Ivam vivasudhi yogam proktavan ahamavayam vivaswan manave praha manhu iksha kave apravid evam parampara praptam imam rajasyayo viduhu sakalena iha mahada yogo nashtaparantava. Where Lord Krishna gives the heritage of this concept of philosopher king. It's called Rajasheha. Rajanascha, Rishayascha, Rajasheha. This is Shankaracharya's definition. You should be efficient, dynamic, and effective as an administrator, like a king or an emperor. At the same time, you should have the contemplative attitude of a sage. So you should have the contemplative quality of a saint or a sage, rishi, and also the efficiency, the worldly wisdom, so to speak, of a king. The commentators of this verse, Shankarananda Saraswati, who wrote a commentary on Shankaracharya's Bhashya, Shankarananda Giri's Tika, Shankarananda Saraswati's Tika, he says, Rajattum Aishwarya Sambhati Rishuttum Tasyaka Sokshmartha Darshanakshamattum. Who is a king? A king corresponds, the idea of a king corresponds to external prosperity, physical prosperity, efficiency, worldly prosperity, worldly success, and so on. And the contemplative quality of a sage is different. Tasyaha sukshmartha darshanakshamatvam. So Aishwarya Sambhatyaha means the ability to understand the subtle, the true nature, the impermanence, the perishable nature of external empirical prosperity. So if you can be a king, in the sense you are very efficient, very effective, very prosperous, but also you combine in your wisdom the ability to understand that the physical prosperity is a means, not an end in itself. It is not an imperishable thing. That is tasyaha sukshmartha darshanakshamatvam. The ability, the wisdom to understand the fact that physical prosperity is not everlasting, which is possible only for a sage. There is a philosopher king. So Janaka was such a great emperor of ancient times. So he was as great as the great sage philosopher Yajnavalkya himself. They were also friends. So the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and the Yajurveda it contains many passages which depict the assembly of great kings and sages and philosophers in the Mithila country. And some of you ladies will be surprised. Long before Greece allowed ladies to learn philosophy, ancient Vedic culture produced two great outstanding women philosophers. One is Gargi, the other is Maitreyi. Gargi was as great as Yajnavalkya and Janaka in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Maitreyi was a great philosopher and she was the wife of Yajnavalkya. There's an interesting dialogue between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, and the dialogue deals with highest ideal of renunciation. Shankaracharya wrote a comment, it's called Sannyasa Bhashyam, on that particular theme, on that passage, called the famous, celebrated passage. And the entire Vedic literature is full of great women philosophers and sages. So, this is how the dialogue opens. One day, Yajnavalkya came to Janaka's court. Yajnavalkya perhaps thought, this time I am not going to speak much. Samene na vadishye iti. I am not going to speak much this time. Athaha yaj janagasta vaideho Yajnavalkyascha agnihotri samudade. In fact, there was a time when both of them joined in a dialogue during an Agnihotra ceremony, and Yajnavalkya had given one boon to Janaka. That means the boon was, you can ask any question that you want, but the time was not fixed. So this time when Yajnavalkya entered the court, Janaka decided to make use of that opportunity. Yajnavalkya kim jyotirayam purushayati. So Janaka puts one question to Yajnavalkya. That is a simple question. You'll be surprised that the whole dialogue in an ascending order takes you all the way from the most empirical thinking to the highest philosophical speculation. Kim jyotirayam purushayati. This is a simple question. Well, if you ask anybody, how do you see things around you? Any child can answer, sunlight. That's a simple answer. What is the light that you make use of in your everyday life? You walk from here to that place or this place, you go to markets, you go to your office. How do you go? How you are able to go? Not electric light, it's sunlight. That's how the answer comes. Aditya Jyotiriti. Aditya Jyoti Samrat iti. So Yajnavalkya answered, it is Aditya Jyoti, sunlight. Simple question. A child can answer. How are you able to walk in the streets? Sunlight. Adityenaiva ayam jyotishaste pallayade karma guride vivilladedi evameva etad Yajnavalkya. So Yajnavalkya answered, people are able to move out. They are able to see things. They are able to sit somewhere, go somewhere, come back, go about doing their duties and responsibilities because of the help of sunlight. The question is, endowed with what light is a human being, a person, able to live, do things, walk about, move about, and return to their place of work? This is a literal question. Endowed with what light? Kim jyotirayam purushayati. So, kim jyoti yasya bahurihi. Is a bahurihi samasa. Kim jyoti. Endowed with what light? Assisted by what light is a human being able to move about, do things? Naturally, the answer was sunlight. Next question. Astamide aditya Yajnavalkya kim jyotirevayam purushayati. Suppose the sunlight is not there, sun has set in the west. Then what's the light that enables all of us to live in this world, to walk about, to move about, to do our things? Well, Chandrama evasya jyotir bhavati iti. It is moonlight. Chandramasa eva ayam jyoti shaste pallede karma gurude vipillede. It is moonlight that enables a human being to move about, to do different things, to do his work, to return to his place. It is moonlight if there is no sunlight. Okay, that's a very simple enough. So people, when I first taught this in a Vakyartha in MD, this long back, decades back, people will be, oh, these are a simple matter, but this is one of the most profound. It takes you all the way to the most profound philosophical question in the Vedic literature. Astamide aditya yajnavalkya chandramasi astamide kim jyotirevayam purushayati. Well, suppose there is no sunlight, sun is set in the west and there is no moonlight. What's the light that enables a human being to move about, to do things, to return to his place? Agnihi eva asya jyotir bhavati. The fire. In the absence of sunlight and moonlight, it is fire that helps you to do different things. See, in all these passages, Jyoti means physical light. Something that is outside of you. Sunlight is outside of us. So also moonlight, so also fire. So the real light is not outside, the real light is within. Sunlight and moonlight or fire helps you only if there is a light that is within you, within all of us. All other lights, the sunlight, the moonlight, everything, borrows its ability to become light, to function as light. Because it borrows that faculty from the light within, the Atma Jyoti. That's the central theme of this dialogue. So, Yajnavalkya answered, Janaka agreed, in the absence of sunlight and moonlight, it is fire, Agni Jyoti, that enables us to do things, to move about, to do different things, to function as light. Then the next question, Astamide aditya yajnavalkya chandramasi astamide shante agno kim jyotirevayam purushayati. This is the next question. Suppose there is no sunlight, astamide aditya, sun has set in the west. Chandramasi astamide, moon, there is no moonlight. Shante agno, no fire. Then what is the light? So what is the meaning of light here? As I mentioned earlier, light here doesn't mean the physical light. Light means the essence of light. Light means knowledge. Light means something that reveals itself and reveals everything else. After all, when you think of light, what do we really think of? We think of something that reveals things, in the presence of which other things get revealed. That's the function of light. So, in the absence of sunlight, moonlight, fire, how do you know things? Suppose you are sitting in a room, there is no sunlight, dark, pitch darkness. There is no sunlight, no moonlight, and no fire. You can strike a candle or a matchstick. Then how do you know about things? When sun is rising in the east, we know many things. Sunlight reveals things. And there is no sunlight, moonlight is the function of sunlight. And if there is no sunlight, no moonlight, we can strike a candle, start a fire, a flame. But suppose you are sitting in a dark room, there is no sunlight, no moonlight, no fire, no candle. How do you know things? Well, you may hear a vehicle moving the street. You don't see that because no sunlight, no moonlight, no fire. But still, something reveals you. And revealership is the function of light. So what enables you to know that there is a vehicle, a car moving in the street? The sound. Though your eyes are closed, there is no sunlight, no moonlight, no fire, still the sound, the noise that comes from the streets tells you, reveals to you the fact that there is a car moving the street. So that the voice, the walk means speech or the speech system, the sound system, the sound phenomenon, that functions as the revealing agent, the light. That's the answer which Yajnavalkya gives naturally. Astamide aditya Yajnavalkya, Chandramasi astamide shantayakno, kim jyotirevayam purushayidi, vak eva asya jyotir bhavati. Vacha evayam jyotisha aste pallede karma gurite vipulyati. Tasmadvai samradavi yatrasva panirna vinitnyayade atha yatra vak ucharati ubhaiva tatra nedidi eva evaedat Yajnavalkya. So Yajnavalkya replied, when there is no sunlight, no moonlight, no fire, it is walk, the sound, that enables you to know about things. And that's what reveals things. Even if you can't see things, you cannot see even your own hand. Yatta suha panirna vinitnyayate. You can't see your own hand. Still, the sound that you hear with your ears, because when mind and the sense of hearing together focus on the sound phenomenon, the sound itself becomes a revealing agent, and you come to a decision where there is a car moving the street. So far, it's all straightforward. Now the next question is, Astamide aditya Yajnavalkya, Chandramasi astamide, Shanti agnu, Shantayam vachi, kim jyotirevayam purushayati. Suppose there is no sunlight, no moonlight, no fire, and also suppose you are deaf, pitch darkness, sitting in a room, no sunlight, no moonlight. You can't hear anything. You can't strike a matchstick. Still, you'll be sitting there, closing your eyes. You are deaf. Let us hope. Still, you are not dead. You may be deaf, but you are not dead. You can think, visualize, speculate. You may be you may be sleeping in a dark room at midnight. Still, you may visualize yourself walking in the open street. You are not walking in the open street at the gross level. At the mental level, you are walking in the street. So, in waking state, things happen at the gross level, where mind and the senses of perception and senses of action are all involved in various activities in waking state, in Jagrut state. In dream also we hear. In dream also we walk. We see things in dream. You can dream yourself walking in the streets, though you are sleeping in a dark room. Because all these things happen at the mental level. So, that's why it is said, you can never have a dream experience which is totally detached from or separate from your waking state experiences. Dream experiences are not exact duplications of waking state experiences. Means Swapna experience, called Swapna, called Vaishwanara is active. Dreams are not exact duplications or replicas of waking state experiences, but they can be completely separate. If you dream something, what you dream about, you have thoughts, or a thought must have flashed in your mind. That takes the form of a subtle experience in dream state. In dream, you may dream flying in the sky. So, the idea of flying in the sky is linked with the idea of real flying in the sky. So they are re-experienced in dream state at the subtle level. In dream state, senses of action and senses of perception are not involved. Only mind is involved. But in waking state, mind plus senses of action and senses of perception are involved. These 11 indriyas are, mind is equated with an indriya or a sense in the Vedantic parlance. So, even when you cannot see, hear, still in your mind you can think of what you had done yesterday, you relive, you re-experience at a mental level. How are you able to do that? Because there is a light which is not exterior to body, a light which is within the system, a light which is the essence of all lights. It's called Atma Jyoti. So sunlight can become light, can play the role of a revealing agent only if there is Atma Jyoti within. Moon can help you in revealing things only if there is Atma Jyoti. Words also become revealing agents. Vak become Vak Jyoti. Sun become Aditya Jyoti. Or moon becomes Chandra Jyoti. Words also become Vak Jyoti only when there is a real Jyotisham Jyoti, which Upanishads call Jyotisham Jyoti, the light of all lights, which is Atma Jyoti within us. So, it is this Atma Jyoti that enables us to remember what we had done in the past and also to dream. So, in Vedanta, dream and memory are practically, they belong to the same category. So, you see an object in front of you, you close your eyes and you see it again. You listen to your music this morning and evening you remember. When you remember, you are re-experiencing. You are going through again and again the experience of hearing. Otherwise, you cannot learn music. You hear something, you are able to repeat next day or maybe after some years. A painter, he goes to an art gallery, sees a great masterpiece, and is able to paint a similar picture next day because visually he is able to reproduce his previous experience from memory. The same is what is happening in dream state. So dream state and memory are identical in Vedantic parlance, which proves that there is something in all of us that retains in subtle form the memories and impressions and vasanas and samskaras. And that is the Atma Jyoti. So, this Atma Jyoti is the real Jyoti, real revealer. That is the central theme of this particular Brahmana. Is called Jyotir Brahmanam. So, Astamide Aditya Yajnavalkya, Chandramasi Astamide, Shantayatnu, Shantayam Vaji, Kim Jyotirevayam Purushayidi, Atma eva asya Jyotir Bhavati. So, when all the external lights are absent, Here remember, light means, at least in Sanskrit it's true, from Sanskrit, Jyoti in Sanskrit means not only light as we understand in English word. Jyoti means that which gives you existence, that gives you awareness, that reveals things. Because light alone can reveal itself and also reveal other things. Other objects can only be revealed when there is a light. But light can reveal itself because it is the essence of light. That light, that sunlight which reveals other objects, becomes non-functional, totally irrelevant when the Atma Jyoti within us itself is not present. When a person dies, 1,000 watts bulb may be burning, you can't see anything. So this Atman is depicted as Jyoti in this particular Brahmana. Jyoti means that which is the essence of all light, which reveals everything. Katama Atma iti. What is this Atma? That's a question that Janaka asked. Oyam Vijnanamaya Praneshu Kriti Andad Jyoti Purushaha. So here, I have to explain a few more things about this. The presence of this Atman as the revealer, as the grand revealer in both waking, dream and deep sleep states. So you mentioned yesterday, just now of course. Our consciousness or awareness, our states of awareness can be analyzed under three categories. One is Jagrat state, Swapna state, the second Sushupti state. The waking state, the dream state and the deep sleep state. In waking state, as I mentioned earlier, we experience things with the help of the senses of perception, senses of action and mind. I can't see anything unless my mind and my sense of sight come together and focus on a visual object. I can't hear anything unless my mind and my sense of hearing come together and focus on a sound phenomenon. So also I can't touch anything, I can't smell anything unless my mind and the sense of touch and sense of smell come together and focus on the respective objects. But in dream state, what is happening is, whatever we experience in waking state is repeated, but they are not exact repetitions, but they cannot be completely detached from or separate from waking state experiences. In waking state, you require 4 hours to travel from here to San Francisco. In dream state, it may be a matter of split second. In waking state, you may go to sleep here in one place, but you may dream you are reached somewhere else, thousands of miles away. And again, you may be sleeping in a small room, but you may dream you are walking in the open sky. So there is always Kala, Desha and Saushmya, Sthaulya, Bhedas. I mean 3 types of differences. Time difference, space difference, and also the subtle gross differences. In waking state, everything is happening, everything is experienced at the gross level. In dream state, everything is experienced at the subtle level. Because mind alone is involved. Everything is a mental projection. In deep sleep, we experience everything, but our tool for experiencing these experiences is not functioning. So, though there is an experience, that experience is felt to be real only after you wake up from deep sleep. So that's Sukhamaham Sukhamaswam. You had a wonderful rest. I didn't see, I didn't know anything. I had a full rest, had a good sleep. This awareness comes only when you come out of Sushupti or deep sleep state, when you wake up, when you return to the waking state. But still, this Atma Jyoti was present in both the waking state, in dream state, and also in deep sleep state. In waking state, this Atma Jyoti, sometimes called Vishwa, in dream state, Taijasa, and in deep sleep state is called Prajna. So, this Atma Jyoti, it never sets in the west as sun sets in the west. It never fails to come, rise as sometimes moon, there will be no moon, it is dark night, you don't see moonlight. And this light is always present. And all other lights become lights. They are able to function as lights because of this light which always remains. And then this light is not an external light. This light is Andarjyoti. That is why Yajnavalkya says, Yoyam Vijnanamaya Praneshu Hridi Andarjyoti Purusha. So, this light, this Atman as light, it functions, it is present in all the pranas, in all the indriyas, all the senses. And also, it is present in our buddhi, in our mind. Actually, this light is always there, but the manifestation of this light could be different from person to person. Swami Vivekananda makes an interesting statement in the Jnana Yoga lectures. He says the difference between an amoeba and a Buddha is one of degrees, not of kind. Now, an amoeba it belongs to a very primitive level of evolution, biological evolution. And the Buddha, literally the word Buddha in Sanskrit means the enlightened one. So, Buddha got that name, the enlightened one. So, it's an adjective actually, in the sense that he got the spiritual illumination. So, a Buddha means a spiritually evolved person. So, what's the difference between an amoeba and a Buddha, a spiritually evolved person? In amoeba, this Atma Jyoti is present, but the reflecting medium through which it manifests is very primitive. In a Buddha, it is manifesting in its full effulgence. What is the reflecting medium? The Antakarana is a reflecting medium. That is why in the Upanishad says, Vijnanamaya Praneshu Kriti Antarjyoti Purusha. It is present there in our intellect and mind. So, Antakarana it has got four compartments: Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, and Ahankara. Mind is the Sankalpa Vikalpa Atmika Antakarana Vrittihi Mana. Means when you see an object from a distance, whether you speculate whether it is this or that, whether it is a form of a human being or a pillar. Let us see from a distance, we see an object, dark object. There is not enough light. We are not sure whether it is a human being, the form of a human being or a pillar. When you reach the object, you understand it is not a human being, just a pillar. So, before you come to a decision that it is the pillar, your mind is functioning because it is sankalpa and vikalpa, means speculative faculty. And the antakarana vritti functions as sankalpa and vikalpa, it is called mind. And when you reach the object, you come to a decision that it is a pillar. Nischayatmika antakarana vritti is buddhi. And when you recollect from your memory, well, I have seen the same thing last week. You recollect this memory. When you recollect, what happens is, your mind goes back to the last week, when you saw the same object. And that visual object returns to your mental system, and you see it again. So every memory is a kind of re-experiencing things, depending upon the registration of the power of memory, and the force with which the experiences registered its memory in the mental system. So when you identify yourself as the person who has seen it the last week, it is the aham. So all these constitute one single mechanism. It's called antakarana. Now, when this Atma Jyoti reflects through this antakarana, in its full effulgence, you are called a Buddha. When it manifests through clouded mirror, like a brilliant sun reflecting in a very cloudy, dark mirror, the reflection will be very, very opaque, very vague, not very clear. You take a piece of paper, you clean up the mirror. Then the reflection becomes more and more clear. Through spiritual practices, through prayer, through japa, or through any noble good deed, when our mind becomes pure, when it reaches a higher and higher level of chitta shuddhi or mental purity, then the reflection of this Atma Jyoti becomes more and more powerful. It becomes more and more effulgent. So, every spiritual practice is like taking a piece of paper or a good piece of cloth and wiping off the mirror of our mind, all the dirt and filth. So, this great truth was revealed to Janaka. Now, in a previous dialogue, in a dialogue between Yajnavalkya and Gargi, Yajnavalkya makes some very profound statements in the 3rd chapter. The same Atma Jyoti is sometimes called the imperishable, eternal reality, the Atman. It's called Aksharam. So, the Upanishadic literature calls this absolute, all-pervading, immanent, transcendental reality by employing different terms in the vocabulary. It could be Aksharam, it could be Jyoti, it could be Atman, it could be Brahman, and so on. In the 3rd chapter of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, for example, Yajnavalkya employs another term called Aksharam, meaning the imperishable Atman. Edas Siva Aksharasya Prashasane Gargi Surya Chandramaso Vidrudo Tishtadaha. Here Yajnavalkya is not talking to Janaka, but talking to the great women philosopher called Gargi. So Yajnavalkya says, Edas Siva Aksharasya Prashasane Gargi. This Atman, Atma Jyoti, or this imperishable absolute reality, it is behind everything. The sun, the moon, the earth, the heavens, the time principle, the seasons, day and night, months and years, days and weeks. There is a subtle rhythm. It's called, in Sanskrit, in Vedic, Rigveda Samhita, the word is called Ritam. Ritam is nothing but the invisible regulating principle that keeps the entire cosmos in a state of mutual integrity and harmony. So behind this apparent chaos, there is an integrating principle, a thread that unifies, that integrates, that harmonizes all these disconnected things. There is a rhythm, there is a sequence. This same sequence, which is called rhythm in Rigveda, is called dharma when the same principle acts as a ethical idea which regulates our actions and thoughts. So the same rhythm, which is the invisible, integrating, harmonizing principle that keeps the cosmos in a state of mutual harmony, it becomes the ethical principle when it becomes dharma, which regulates our actions. It becomes a philosophical ideal when it's called satyam. The satyam, rhythm and dharma. These are three terms which signify three dimensions of the same eternal principle. As the regulating principle behind the cosmos, behind the existence, it is called rhythm. As an ethical principle, it is called dharma. As a philosophical logos, it is called satyam. So Yajnavalkya says in the 3rd chapter, Edasya aksharasya prasasane gargi surya chandramaso vidrudotishthataha. So prasasana actually means, this Jyoti, this Atman is present in everything and everybody. Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhuta sisthitaha. Aham adisya madhyam cha bhudanam antayavaja. You find in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Sarvesham bhudanam kridisthitaha. Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhuta sisthitaha. Sarvesham bhutanam kridi sthitaha. This Atma is present as Antaryami, as the indweller, as the immanent principle in everything. Being present as Antaryami in everything, he regulates and controls and puts in balance the entire cosmos. As the eternal revealing principle, it is called Atma Jyoti. As the imperishable reality is called Akshara. As the immanent principle, it is called Atman. As the origin, the point of sustenance, and the point of dissolution of the whole existence, it is called Brahman. That's why Yajnavalkya says, Yadasya va aksharasya prasasane gargi dyava prithivyo vidrude tishtataha. Maybe a physicist, which I am not, may be able to analyze this idea from a different angle. Well, I don't know what will happen if the gravitational principle gets slightly upset. What will happen to human beings living here? So you find there is a subtle rhythm and integrating mutually related, mutually dependent integrating principle that keeps the cosmos in a perpetual harmony. So if you want to know, if you want to get an idea of what lies beyond, is there something beyond this visible empirical thing? There are many people who cannot think of anything beyond today. There are many people who cannot think of anything beyond empirical, beyond what is visible within our mental horizon. If you want any proof that there is something beyond what our mind cannot fully comprehend, so Yajnavalkya says, you don't have to go far. Think of this integrating principle, how the entire cosmos is kept in a rhythm, in a state of mutual harmony. So, Edasiva Aksharasya Prashasane Gargi Nimesha Muhurta Horatrani Ardhamasa Masa Rudavasanvassaraha Idi Vidagatishtanti. So, seasons, days and nights, and there is always a sequence, an integrating harmony behind this existence. So, it is an example of this Atman as the eternal revealer. Now, in the same idea you find in the third chapter again, in answer to a question from Gargi. Gargi asked this question. What is that's again related to this, what is that sutra, Sahovaja Vayuvai Gautama, Tat Sutram, Vayuna Vai Gautama Sutrena, Ayam Loka, Parasaloka, etc.
Would you mind giving the number, please?
Oh, if you want, okay. You can refer 372. This is a mantra. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. What I referred to was much earlier. What I am going to refer to is something else. I am going to very, very interesting subject which is very relevant. The Antaryami aspect of the same Atma Jyoti is expounded in a very graphic language here. The mantra is very famous. If you want, you can see the mantra third. Ya prithivyan tishtan prithivyantarah yam prithivina veda yasya prithvi shariram ye prithvi mantaro yamayadi eshate atma antaryami amritaha. The same Atma Jyoti is expounded as the indweller, as the immanent principle present everywhere. So being present in everything and being immanent, it becomes omnipresent, all-pervading, and it becomes a controller of everything. To give an example of this, Yajnavalkya, in one of the most famous statements, says this: Ya prithiviyam tishtan. This Atma, which is called in the Janaka, in the dialogue between Janaka and Yajnavalkya as Atma Jyoti, it is Antaryami. So he says it is Prithiviyam Tishtan, it is present in earth. In fact, there are two statements, in earth and on earth. Both are stated here. Ye Prithiviyam Tishtan. Suppose you say that this Atma is present on earth to begin with. Then you may think, from an external point of view, all that you see on earth is Atman. It is called pantheism. The beginning, the most primitive concept of Godhead. Pantheism. In pantheism, you equate external nature with God. You find the writings of Emerson in America, and if you want, the Victorian poets like Wordsworth, William Wordsworth, Shelley, Keats, and you find many of their writings. The idea of pantheism, where external nature is equated with God, the absolute principle, which is rooted in the idea of awe or fear, the exclamation that an average man feels when he looks at the grandeur, the diversity of nature. But that's only beginning of the evolution of the idea of the absolute reality or Godhead. So Shankaracharya will say, people may mistake, ya prithiviyam tishtan. Suppose if you take that statement alone, then you may think, oh, all that you see under the big trees, mountains, valleys, all this constitutes the absolute reality. So it is called pantheism. But Shankaracharya says, to refute that, Shankaracharya gives a logical analysis to these Vedic mantras. Of course, I should have stated at the very beginning itself. Today we are discussing the Vedas thanks to Shankaracharya. Many of the early European Indologists who read the Vedic literature, they thought they don't signify anything. In fact, if you read the Vedic mantras and if you depend upon Monier Williams alone, and if you get a literal translation, you will think the Vedic sages were all crazy. But when Shankaracharya came, he brought out the true meaning. This Vedic literature becomes the foundation of the most profound spiritual, philosophical doctrines of the world. So Shankaracharya says, don't get excited when Yajnavalkya tells you, Ye Prithvyam Tishtan, Prithvyah Antaraha. So in order to remove your misunderstanding, that Upanishad mantras preach pantheism, the mantra says Prithvyah Antaraha. It is not what you see on the face of the earth like trees and mountains. It is within earth. Then also there is a problem. Within earth you have petroleum ore, iron ore, coal, and so many things. Do they constitute Aksharam or Antaryami? No. So in order to refute such a meaningless interpretation, Yam Prithvina Veda, earth doesn't know about it. This bulb doesn't know the mystery of electricity. If you interpret electricity as a creation of this bulb, it would be ridiculous. So also, this Atman is present all over, everywhere. Prithvyam Tishtan. But it is not what you see on the surface of the earth. Prithvyava Hantaraka. So in order to refute the possibility of pantheism, the Upanishads say, Prithvyah Antaraha. It is within. It is called pantheism, it is called. Where, going beyond pantheism, you think of one inner spirit that is present in the phenomenal world. It's called you find in Shinto religion, you find that sort of everything as a spirit within. That is also not correct. So Upanishad goes beyond that. It says, Yam Prithvina Veda. Earth doesn't know that. Yasya Prithvi Shariram. This Prithvi, this earth is only a vehicle. Only an external body for this Atman. This mic system is not the creator of this electricity. The electricity manifesting in one particular dimension through this instrument becomes helpful in projecting the voice. So, the same Atman has got this earth only as a reflecting medium. So also, when the Upanishads say that this Atman is present everywhere, it doesn't mean whatever you see in the external surface of the earth is Atman. Not that it is within, which you can see. No. It's a Prithvi Shariram. And of this Atman, this earth is only a vehicle. Ye Prithvim Antaro Yamayati. So, it remains within the earth. Then it controls, regulates the whole creation. So that is a transcendental dimension of the immanent. So that's why it is called the Atman is the immanent, the omnipresent, and the transcendental reality. When it is called a transcendental reality, it becomes the controller, the regulator. It becomes the regulator not sitting outside. It is sitting within. Antaro Yamayati. It controls, regulates as Antaryami. I think we will have interaction, I believe. 15 minutes, I'm sorry, I think we lost about 15 minutes of interaction. Anyway, you can extend the time if you want. So we'll continue the discussion, the next last session. So anyway, Eshate Atma Andaryami Amrta. So these are classic examples of the highest philosophical dialogues. And where are these dialogues taking place? In the courts of kings and emperors, and between a women philosopher and an equally great sage philosopher. And what are they discussing? They are discussing the highest spiritual philosophical truths. And that was long before Socrates started his academy in Greece, in the pre-Christian Greece. At least the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad goes all the way back to 5th millennium BC. So we'll continue the discussion, the next session, last session. We can have interaction.
Swamiji, the height and the degree of these philosophical discussions in the court, I wonder at that time how was the level of the society of a common man, whether it was a kind of their level was also that high in the society, because these are the glimpses of what is occurring in the literature, etc.
Well, you have to remember, India is supposed to have had 19 centuries of golden eras in its history. If you go to Europe, Britain became a superpower only in 19th century, King Victoria's time, maybe 40 years after the Spanish Armada, during the time of Queen Elizabeth. Spain was prominent, dominant in Europe, maybe for about 60, 70 years. France under Louis XIV, and a few 15, 20 years under Napoleon Bonaparte. India had a golden era. Just imagine India's history. All the way from 19th century BC, of course I am talking about recorded history, and the Upanishads go far beyond that. See, from Shishunagas, Nandas and the Mauryas and the Kanishkas, all the way right up to Harshavardhana in the 6th century AD. So from 18th century BC to 5th century AD, you have to think of India's antiquity. Of course, I don't have time, but later on you can read the works of Arnold Toynbee, H.G. Wells, a few writers. So, to talk about the grandeur of those philosophical dialogues, the discussions that took place in ancient India, in which, and that will be surprising, ladies played a very important role. Just imagine that. So there was a time in later centuries, due to the influence of Smriti Samskar, Smriti tradition, the ladies were not allowed to study the Vedas. But some of the greatest Vedic scholars of ancient times were ladies. Gargi was arguably as great as Yajnavalkya, who is the greatest Vedic scholar and philosopher of Brihadaranyaka age. Maitreyi, she was equally learned. Now, what I mean to say, if we speculate about the grandeur, the antiquity, and the culture of these profound philosophical dialogues that took place in the courts of kings and emperors, in the assembly of great thinkers and philosophers, this gives you a glimpse of ancient India. So, you have to remember all this must have taken place 5 millennium before Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Xenophon, Thales, 7th century Greek philosopher. They all started thinking of, speculating of higher thoughts. This must have happened. 5th millennium BC.
Swamiji, in this 373...
Okay. 373.
Yeah, in 373, the Prithvi there cannot be literal, right? It could actually represent the entire universe.
No. See, in fact, the Upanishad, that is saying, It is Shankaracharya's genius who put all these words together and gave a logical interpretation. I don't have the Bhashya with me right now. It is Shankaracharya who says why the second Prithivyaha Antaraha is mentioned here. Prithiviyam Tishthan and Prithivyaha Antaraha. Both cannot be logical if you take the literal meaning.
Exactly.
How can you say this glass is on this table and this glass is within the table? You can't say. So you can't say, you cannot use a language like that with regard to anything empirical, anything that belongs in the phenomenal world. Which shows, so the Upanishadic language becomes complex apparently and is in need of interpretation because the Upanishads developed at a time when philosophy was so highly evolved, language was not so highly evolved. So that's why it's a problem. So in the Vedic grammar, there is a statement, Sarvesham Shabdanam Dhadujatvam Dhadunam Anegarthatvam cha, which is the special feature of the Vedic grammar. It's different from Paninian system, modern standardized grammar, Sanskrit grammar, which means every word is born in a dhatu or root, and every root has got anegarthatva, means it will have different meanings. So when philosophy evolves so much and language is not so well developed, very often the language fails to catch up with the philosophy. That is a problem in modern time. In modern time, Wittgenstein, many of the modern thinkers have focused on this problem, the inadequacy of a language in expressing higher philosophical principles. But it was very obvious in Vedic times. So often you find in the Upanishadic Vedic literature, the word Atma is used to mean Jivatma, individual soul, to mean Paramatma, to mean body, in the sense Buddhi, mind, intellect, and Indriyas, like that. So very often that problem is there. It was Shankaracharya who brought out a great philosophical, spiritual meaning and compact philosophical system from this Upanishadic literature. Because without Shankaracharya, we would not have derived any meaning from these statements. Tattwamasi, you are that. What does it mean? You remove Shankara's commentary? You are that. I am Brahman. What does it mean? You live maybe 90 years. You fall sick. You get diabetes, heart, BP, everything, and you say you are God. The meaning will be totally ridiculous. But when Shankaracharya gave a profound philosophical interpretation to the Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi in Brihadaranyaka, first chapter, fourth Brahmana, it becomes a profound system of philosophy. What does it mean? Not this body. Behind this body, behind this mind, behind this intellect, behind all that is visible, empirical, the phenomenal dimension of my personality, there is one eternal inner spiritual principle, of which this body is only a vehicle, a reflecting medium, which is imperishable, which is present in everything, which is all pervading, is imperishable, beyond birth, beyond death. So when you read that interpretation, then Aham Brahmasmi makes sense. Otherwise, what meaning do you get from Aham Brahmasmi? It was Shankaracharya's genius who gave a meaning to these statements. So also this statement, Yet Prithiviyam Tishthan, that which remains on earth. And then, Prithivyaha Antaraka, is within Prithvi, within earth. So that also can create problem. An atheist can say coal, Upanishads say the coal is God. Or iron ore. all those things that you can excavate from earth. So in order to deny that possible misinterpretation, Yam Prithvina Veda. And then Yasya Prithvi Shariram. Ye Prithivim Antaro Yamayati. You cannot say that about anything. that which remains within the earth as the immanent principle, which controls, which regulates, with the essence of the whole existence. That is Antaryami.
Right. So instead of Prithvi, we can substitute the entire physical universe.
I don't think we are wise enough to substitute the words of the sages. So Shankaracharya has wrote, we can do that in modern times, we can do that. So when you read Shankaracharya's commentary, you won't make this statement. You would say, this is the most beautiful, sublime way of putting things. So try to read. Of course, I don't have time to expound it right now. Maybe next class I can try. So Shankaracharya gives a very profound statement. Because it takes you all the way from the grossest possible interpretation to the highest and most profound interpretation. So at the grossest level, we may think, that's what I say, pantheism was the concept of absolute reality. In the 19th century, American transcendentalists and also British thinkers like Wordsworth and others. And there are many statements in the Veda Samhita which support pantheistic interpretations. It is only in the Upanishads that you find a gradual ascending order of interpretation, successively, taking you all the way from earth to the highest. See last statement, Esha te atma andaryami amrtaha. Beginning with the gross visible manifestations on earth, it takes you all the way to the concept of the Atman which is present, immanent. Esha te atma andaryami amrtaha. Te atma, the essence of your true self, andaryami, is immanent. So all the way from the grossest visible, tangible, physical things, it takes you the highest point of realization. It is the real Atman, your Atman within you. That is the genius of the Upanishads. So in the Upanishad you find there's a gradual ascent from the grossest to the most subtle, the most profound spiritual concepts. Not only that, you have to remember, these words have got a very profound, a very rhythmic way of chanting. These words have become mantras. So you cannot substitute, because a word becomes a mantra when it becomes a potent spiritual agency. When it is meditated upon and contemplated upon by sages for centuries.
So substitute may not be the right word.
Yeah.
But when we say immanence of the Supreme.
Immanence is the last statement comes there. Esha te atma, te atma andaryami. Andaryami immanent. Yeah.
So the immanence applies not only to Prithvi, but to the wide universe.
Yeah. Again, actually, remember, Yajnavalkya is looking at Gargi straight away. Gargi is putting a question. What is the sutra? What is that integrating thread that connects the entire cosmos? And Yajnavalkya, and remember, there are 28 mantras beginning with this. Eshateya Atma Andaryami Amrita. This is from 3rd up to 20, there are 28 mantras in an ascending order. From the grossest to less gross, like that. So it is a very, very grand literature. So here Yajnavalkya is looking straight at Gargi and tells her, this Atma which you see on this earth is within you, your true self. Please come. Please.
Can I ask anything?
There is somebody. I'll come to you. Yeah. Just a minute. Please. Okay. No, I'll certainly come to you after that. Please.
Swamiji, can we say that Paramatma is the tremendous power, the tremendous energy in the total environment that administers all the diversities and commonalities in this total ever-expanding universe? And our Atma is a part of that Paramatma, and we should be able to understand from that point of view what is the reality. And how to get realization.
Yeah. You know, remember, our Atma is the Paramatma manifesting through this Antarkarana. In reality, there is no difference between our Atma and the Paramatma. That's the real meaning. So, Jiva, Brahma, Aikyam is the essence of Upanishads and Advaita. But when we begin, we may not be able to realize this. So gradually as we evolve, we realize that there is no distinction at all between Jivatma and Paramatma. But in the spiritual evolution, we may go through Dvaita, Visishta Dvaita and Advaita. The Dvaitas, at the Dvaita level, there is a difference between Atma or God, this world and ourselves. The difference between different things in this universe and difference between different jivas also. So the Pancha Bheda Siddhanta, 5 differences. We may begin there, but the Upanishads introduce to you the highest view. That is Jiva Brahma Abheda. Jiva Brahma Aikyam it is called. That's it. Please. Yes, please.
Janaka is called as Videha.
Yeah.
So when he was realizing he is Videha,
Yeah.
why would Yajnavalkya reinforce within him that Atma is Jyoti and all of this? He must be already realizing it.
Yeah.
So did he,
Yeah.
gave him the ideas and then he became Videha? Okay.
Yeah.
Already.
Yes, in those days, yesterday I referred to this, the dialogues were part of the intellectual culture in those days. So, whenever great sages visited kings, their courts, they used to hold such discussions. It was part of culture in those times. And again, whenever a great sage visited a king, the king will normally put a question to him so that he will give an exposition on that subject in the presence of the courtiers. It was it's a sign of higher intellectual and spiritual culture. So we can't say that Janaka was learning from Yajnavalkya as a student. Janaka and Yajnavalkya were equally great. So you find many such conversations happening in Janaka's court involving Yajnavalkya and also some other great philosophers. Some of them were as great as Yajnavalkya, for example, Gargi, and some of them were not as evolved as Yajnavalkya. There are, of course, in the other Brahmanas chapters, there are instances. But when it comes to Yajnavalkya and Janaka, both were equally great. And whenever great sages and philosophers visited a court, the kings or the emperors will ask the sage, you please speak on this subject. They may know everything, still they will do that. That's a part of a higher culture. There are long discussions on this particular culture in the Bhashya. Parishad it is called. Parishad means assembly of philosophers and sages. They used to assemble and discuss out of the culture. So I hope we have already exhausted time. Thank you. Can we continue in the next session? Already we may be getting late. Okay. Thank you. We'll continue in the next session. Thank you.